The contemporary trend that we're going to be discussing in class today is the issue of divorce, with a presentation by Brandy Jackson, Rebecca Peterson, and Anna Armstrong. The terminology associated with divorce would be divorce itself, which is a judicial declaration dissolving a marriage in whole or in part, especially one that releases the husband and wife from all matrimonial obligations. The issue of separation is when there's a legal separation from husband or wife that does not necessarily dissolve the marriage, but it allows the couple to live separate lives for a period of time. Mediation is when a couple engages in deep thought or reflection, usually with some type of therapist, in order to help save the marriage. An annulment is when a couple decides to make void or abolish a marriage relatively soon after the matrimonial ceremony. And then there's alimony, which is an allowance paid to a person by that person's spouse or former spouse for maintenance. It's usually granted by a court upon legal separation or a divorce while it's pending. The historical overview for American history shows that divorces were only granted in very extreme cases. Specific rules and regulations prohibited a divorce unless undeniable proof could be shown. Reasons for divorce included abuse, infidelity, and extreme cruelty to a partner or children. Divorce rates were once around 5% and have now skyrocketed to roughly 50%. Divorce laws. Every state has different laws and steps that need to be taken in order to obtain a divorce. In the state of Maryland, a couple must be legally separated for at least 2 years before they can begin the divorce process. And within that 2 years, they cannot have any sexual or physical contact with one another. In the state of Maryland, you have grounds for divorce and no-fault grounds for divorce. Under grounds of divorce, there's 8 reasons, which include adultery, desertion for at least 12 months, voluntary separation for at least 12 months, imprisonment period of at least 3 years, living separate or apart for at least 2 years, insanity only if hospitalized for at least 3 years, cruelty of treatment or excessively vicious conduct. And then no-fault grounds for divorce are 1 year of mutual separation, no cohabitation, and no expectation of reconciling, or a 2-year separation period without cohabitation or sexual. Marriage and divorce rates, according to the U.S. Census, are shown below. In 1980, you can see that 15.9% of marriages happened, and there was a 7.9% divorce rate. And then in 2008, you can also see that it's roughly the same, with 10.6% of marriages, and then 5.2% of those marriages ending in divorce. So although marriages are seeming to go down, the divorce rate is staying roughly the same at around 50%. And in between January and December of 2009, there were 32,403 marriages, and of those marriages, 15,221 divorces happened, and that was just in the state of Maryland. America's Divorce Problem is a recent article that talks about divorce in society today and what we can do as individuals to help the divorce rate from skyrocketing further. Louisiana enacted the first covenant marriage in 1997, and a covenant marriage acknowledges marriage as a lifelong commitment to another person. It requires premarital counseling both before and after the marriage, and to obtain a divorce, couples must again go through therapy to try to resolve their issues.
According to Jewish law, a marriage is not dissolved until a bill of divorce, aka a get, is exchanged between husband and wife. Shown on the right is a picture of the get. Divorce is looked down upon in Judaism, but it is not prohibited. In Islam, divorce is allowed. Islam considers marriage to be a legal contract and is not affiliated with the religion. Individuals who follow the Indian religions cannot get a divorce. Therefore, divorce is very rare. In the Catholic Church, if the marriage has not been annulled, remarriage after divorce is extremely prohibited. Displayed here are several magazine covers that portray the image society has on divorce. It is highly publicized, especially in celebrity lives. Divorce in the media. Paparazzi make their living off turning marriages into gossip stories. These stories circulate and cause problems for famous married couples. They are faced with many rumors to the point it takes a toll on their marriage. Many times couples fall victim to the paparazzi and the marriage ends in divorce. This is shown on reality TV shows. Almost every celebrity couple who have been on a reality TV have gotten a divorce. Listed here are different couples who have gone through divorce in the media. Scarlett Johansson and Ryan Reynolds, Jessica Simpson and Nick Lachey, who got a divorce shortly after their TV show, J.Lo and Mark Anthony, who are going through custody battles, Jesse James and Sandra Bullock, whose marriage ended over infidelity, and Kate Gosselin and John Gosselin of John and Kate +8. The most talked about couple in the media right now are Kim Kardashian and Kris Humphries. Society does not have a negative connotation about divorce anymore because the media glamorized their life. They made their marriage look like a joke because she was only married for 72 days. It is a widely known fact that 50% of first marriages end in divorce, 67% of second marriages end in divorce, and 73% of third marriages end in divorce. The divorce rate declines when a married couple has children, with 40% of marriages ending in divorce. It is said that couples are less happy without children, and therefore the divorce rate is 66%. The U.S. divorce rate is 17.7% per 1,000 married women. The state with the lowest divorce rate happens to be Massachusetts. The state with the highest divorce rate is Nevada, focusing on Las Vegas. In the USA, 8.1% of couples' households are made up of unmarried, heterosexual, cohabitating partners. The divorce rate is actually going down due to the number of unmarried couples. Couples are choosing to cohabitate and thus not getting married. But when they do get married and are not happy, there are many causes of divorce. Couples with children have a slightly lower rate of divorce than couples who are childless. The absence of children leads to loneliness and weariness. More causes of divorce include money. Couples who are relatively successful with their finances are less likely to argue and thus head towards divorce. Infidelity is a huge issue. Also, wrong expectations and addictions to alcohol and drugs.
Changes in the family. During a divorce, one parent typically becomes more present than the other due to the separation of them and also due to the level of conflict that is created when the two of them are together. Children are also exposed to more conflict because the parents are in disagreement more often. Both parents also have to sustain income and learn different parenting skills that previously were fulfilled by the other parent. In addition, other family members assume parenting roles for children, such as immediate family members or close family friends stepping in to take care of the children when either parent is unable. Changes in the family. After a divorce, children have to assimilate to different households and deal with the lingering feeling of loss of not having both parents around anymore. There is also the possibility of remarriage by one or both parents. This means there are new people added to the family that are unfamiliar to the children and that alter the dynamics. Both parents have to learn new skills and household duties to fill the gap that other parents have left behind. Divorce is viewed differently by different cultures. In American culture, clearly is widely accepted, which is why 50% of marriages end in divorce these days. However, in Chinese culture, marriage is legal, but it is not as promoted as in America. Couples are thought to be married until they are elderly, and it is frowned upon when marriages end early. In Indian culture, marriage is also meant for life, which is why they have the lowest divorce rate at 11%. There's also arranged marriages more present in Indian culture than any other culture, meaning that families are married because of benefits, not because of love. The U.S. spends roughly $100 billion each year on divorces alone. The strain of divorce can put families into debt if they weren't already in debt to start. Hence, mediations are a less expensive alternative option, not including lawyers, that the families can use as a means of separating. Children are affected by the divorce in many different ways. First, their grades can decline in school and have a negative impact on their future academics. Also, they can develop behavior problems, and also lower self-esteem is very common in children of divorces.
Statistically, children are profoundly affected. 1/3 of all children are born out of wedlock, and 35 million children have seen their parents divorce since 1970. They are 5 times more likely to live in poverty than those in intact homes, and 3 times more apt to be expelled from school, and 12 times more likely to be jailed. Nationally, only 45% of teenagers live with their married mother and father. Locally, more than 16,000 children